Two London clubs came calling. His old one, West Ham, without Frank, had slumped to the bottom of the First Division. His other choice was at the top. That was Arsenal. Guess which one Frank chose? It wasn't the team that went on to win the double. He went back to West Ham, but still doubled his wages.
It comes back to that Harry Enfield creation.
I'll tell you what that is right there. It's loads of money!
It was totally applicable for soccer players at that time. They couldn't count the money. It was coming in that quickly. Let me tell you, the national average wage at that time was about £15,000 a year. This lad was getting £5 a week, so they could live a fantastic life.
Bottle of Bolly, sweetie. Everybody used to drink it then. In the 80s, everybody seemed to have money.
It wasn't flash. I'm this little guy from Glasgow and I'm enjoying myself. It didn't bother me to just fling a card over at bar and sign it at the end of the night.
Whenever they got their win bonus, whether it was 900 quid, 1,000 or 1,500 at the time, Frank would just take his win bonus and that would be his credit for the night.
He got addicted to going out, to socialising. You remember, you saw Frank McAvennie's picture in the paper more often on the celebrity pages than you did on the football pages in the end.
He liked the fact that we sort of became friendly with lots of celebrities and stuff. Spent evenings with Elton John and Rod Stewart, people like that.
And they're in this little bubble, and this, especially in London, where this showbiz bubble is at its strongest. And it must be very, very easy for a former road digger like Frank to suddenly think, this is brilliant, you know, look at me, I'm in my £200, £400 suit, drinking champagne. I've made it, I've made it, I've made it.
In the old days, if you saw a Ferrari outside your door, contact it was an Arab. Now, it's a footballer.
We were sort of poor man's Posh and Becks, I suppose, of the time. We had the typical footballer pastry gourmet Tudor mansion in Essex.
5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 2 lounges, usual. You know, it's what I'm used to coming from a council estate north of Glasgow. It was a friend of mine I bought it off. He had to sell it because he couldn't get his helicopter in the back garden. And that's a true story. And, 3 weeks after I bought it, the property market crashed.
McAvennie eventually lost $250,000 on that dream house, but he was still burning cash, and within months of the property crash, his football world collapsed too.
We're on a road to nowhere.
All there or blow?
By August 1989, West Ham had been relegated, and one of Britain's most famous footballers was preparing to play in a lower league. The first game of the season proved disastrous.
He got this short pass and he was running away from the ball and he turned back to get the ball and I just went in and tackled and took the ball.
I broke my leg, tore my ligaments and broke my ankle. They rushed me to Stoke Hospital where they were going to do an emergency operation on my legs, and they basically told me that I'll do well to walk straight again, never mind play football.
By the time it hit the papers on Monday, this innocuous challenge had turned into Chris Kamara's nastiest piece of work. You thank God for the advent of TV, really, and the way television has come into football, because you're either guilty or you're not guilty, and thankfully that proved not guilty.
The injury kept Frank out of football for nearly a year, but to the relief of the tabloids, it certainly didn't keep him out of nightclubs.
I don't think it affected his social life much, in that, you know, all it meant was he couldn't put a pair of trousers on because he was on in plaster, so he'd go out in his tracksuit bottoms, but he was inside gutted with it.
I was on a downer, so I used the press a bit to sort of keep my face in the limelight, let them take photos of me at parties and going in here and there. I went to all these opening of restaurants and opening of clubs, and I didn't know what else to do. And that was when I suppose I get the bad name of been out all the time, because I was out all the time.
The hardest thing in the world probably for a footballer is to say no. And the truly great footballers are probably better at saying no than the average ones. The ability to say no when somebody said, right, come on, go for a quick pint, or come on, do you fancy trying this, or do you want to go out here? I certainly find it very difficult to say no to MD about anything. And I think Frank's probably worse than me. I think Frank's probably said no maybe twice in his life.
Where there's money, there's fast cars, there's women, inevitably there'll be drugs. But I think that it was inevitable that Frank was going to get into that situation because of the people who were now starting to move in Frank's circles, the people who wanted to be surrounded with a good-looking, rich guy who was the talk of the town, coming into the East End of London, where you got a lot of tough people, to be seen with someone like Frank. From the drink, to the fast cars, to the women, then I assure you that fourth one will follow.